welcome to another episode of the Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur podcast. Today we got Mike Thake. Mike is the head of partnerships and PR for Avask Accounting and Business Consultants. Avask is your global e-commerce accountants and cross-border VIT expert firm. Welcome, Mike. Okay, thank you so much for being here today, Mike. It's a pleasure to have you on. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you got to Avask. Obviously, a little bit about your background before, and then we slowly work ourselves into Avask, because this is as well very exciting, you know, and as well your background as well, because we speak a lot, and it's always be nice to hear how you got there, where you are today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Omar. It's absolutely delightful to be here today talking to you. So thank you for this opportunity to speak to your audience as well. It's absolutely wonderful. Well, my background, I am currently the head of partnerships at Avask. So that is where I am at the moment. I started working with Avask earnestly in full time. I was started as a consultant, and I've been working with the company since it was initially founded by Dr. Angelos Katsaris and Melanie Shabangu, and I basically was providing expertise throughout the company's initial formation and growth, and then I joined the company full time in around 2018, 2019 as the head of marketing, and started to build the marketing functions here at Avask before moving on to the partnerships role and transitioning into this new role, which is absolutely wonderful because it means that I get to speak to people like you and introduce the company and the services. Background wise, I have around 20 years marketing experience in a variety of different roles. I've worked in many different industries, including local government here in the United Kingdom. I've also worked with recycling, waste collection, those sorts of things, lots of different things. And then as I started building into professional services, I started working with startups, small to medium-sized enterprises as a marketing consultant, and I started to launch some of those people into the online sphere, and generally started to get them to produce new company assets and things, and doing all the marketing strategy, which was really fascinating. Okay. And that was really good as well, because it was helpful for me to be able to start working with startups and serial entrepreneurs, but not necessarily in the e-commerce ecosystem.
Yeah, that would have been my next question, actually.
Yes. And I started working with e-commerce when I started working with Avask, and from there onwards, yeah, I've been working quite a lot with the e-commerce sellers in a variety of different capacities.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, the e-commerce is it's a whole other world, you know. So that was my question. Maybe you touched somewhere before already at e-commerce or something. Sorry to interrupt your video. I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate you having you here today, watching this video right now. And I wanted to let you know that Margin Business can help you to increase your sales in the European Union through a localized listing optimization. If you have any questions how optimization work, or how can you improve your listings in the European Union, just send us an email at info@marginbusiness.com or directly to me, Omar@marginbusiness.com. Thank you. Now enjoy your podcast. Sorry, I just wanted to ask you for one more thing. If you like our content, please hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Now enjoy. But marketing, I mean, marketing is such a big, if we talk about marketing, it's just, you know, talking about waste, what you said, and then working for the local government. If I can ask local government, what kind of marketing they do? Because normally it's pretty clear what they do, you know.
Well, that's the thing, and this is very interesting because local government, for example, here in Southampton, which is where Avask is based, the local
Okay.
authority provides over 600 services, and the problem is not every single person is aware of those services. So it's the job
Okay.
of the marketing team to ensure that they are adequately prepared and the services are advertised so that people understand how the local council can support them as they
Okay. Understand.
start. And it could be anything from, somebody wondering where their waste collection is, or it could be something, again, a small business doesn't know that they can get
Okay.
startup funding.
Understand.
So it can be a variety of different things. And one of the things that I did there was I was the editor of the local magazine, which had a readership of around 110,000.
Oh, yes,
So
it's big.
exactly, and the beautiful thing was it was a captive audience because everybody saw this magazine coming through the post box and saying, it's from Southampton City Council, this is great, I've got all the information about the services I need. So we had a really good captive audience, and it was able to really get in get a quite high profile publication
Okay.
to work with.
So yeah, this actually then prepared you little by little in order to, to receive something like Avask in your portfolio. I mean, I guess at the time, 2018, 2019, as you mentioned, you went to work with Avask. Have you been remotely at that time, or directly fully into the offices?
So yes, well, when I joined, when I was working as a consultant with Avask, I was obviously working remotely,
Yes.
doing a little bit of support, coming into the office and supporting them, and specifically when they were in their Winchester office, and then latterly when they were entering the first Southampton office, and finally onwards into Oceana House. And I actually physically joined full time when Oceana House was opened in 2019. And that was when I actually came on board full time, which was
Okay.
absolutely amazing. And yes, so the as I said, the 20 years worth of marketing experience really did help me to set up the marketing functions of Avask, and also to help Melanie and Angelos to prepare programs, things like the webinars, the podcasts, and the Global Expanders series that we currently undertake. As the head of marketing, I was devising those sorts of strategies to help if you like, advertise the fact that we were able so completely to assist e-commerce sellers with their Amazon journey, especially when they're starting out, growing or expanding into new marketplaces. And
Okay.
we've devised a number of different communication strategies to help those sellers to basically take advantage of, for example, the Pan EU program, which was a very successful and lucrative opportunity for a lot of sellers to get their VAT registration, filing, and compliance basically taken care of for about a year by Amazon. It was absolutely wonderful.
I mean, it sounds like a fairy tale, because I was looking actually at the history of Avask. I was looking at the history of Melanie, and it's for me it's amazing, because if we go back to 2018, 2019, Avask has its humble beginnings, like every smaller company. So how did you transition, I mean, from the 2018 Avask into a company which has 500 plus employees all around the world, opening offices, getting completely, into a structure, as you have mentioned, a corporate structure, which which growing very rapidly. This is really something really interesting to know.
So the Avask was actually founded in 2012, and it was founded by yes. So I joined the company halfway through. So. And Avask opened its Richmond office in London in 2012, and we basically started as an accounting firm. We were Melanie and Angelos, they had a specific vision for Avask, which was a very customer-centered approach. Too many times we're hearing instances where people are treating sellers as a number, not as a person. And generally, that was something that both Melanie and Angelos felt was something that was lacking in the market. And also to develop services that are very easy to use, very easy to understand, and they're basically simple solutions that can actually help somebody to grow and expand their business by using some very simple techniques, but also to have access to an unlimited wealth of information, which would be through the unlimited advisory capacity that Avask offers with every service plan. So if we were talking about a business that has just started up, it might need help and support in a number of different ways. And just having Avask at the end of the phone and being able to speak to somebody who is a dedicated resource suddenly became such it became such a pull and a lure for these businesses that we found ourselves literally finding new opportunities and working with some really quite incredible new companies, and it was absolutely brilliant. And by the time 2013 came around, we'd officially started working with Amazon, and we joined, I think it was 2014.
Oh, that's early.
As
That's super early.
Yes, it was, exactly. And we joined as an official Amazon SPM partner as an external tax advisor in 2014, and that was just that
Amazing.
then just started a real cascade. 2015, we started expanding and we opened a US office. As we started building our profile with Amazon, we started working with a lot of American sellers who are looking to expand across borders into the European Union, into the United Kingdom, and it was really quite interesting, because we started then seeing the scope of the e-commerce community and how much we could help them to grow and expand. So that's where we started then opening new offices in Paris, Frankfurt. Obviously, we started attending events with Amazon. And then by 2016, we were opening offices in Shenzhen in China to help the Chinese sellers to start migrating across the other way back towards Europe and the United States. So by the time I started joining around 2017 and 2018, we already had 2 offices in China. We had France, we had Germany, we had the US, and we started working directly with the global selling team at Amazon in the US, which was an amazing opportunity because we joined the Amazon PanEU program as one of the external providers, and we were then able to literally scale and help as many sellers that were starting to need registration services in Europe, and we were helping them to grow and expand as was necessary, which was very exciting when you consider that it all came from a simple law in Europe, which basically changed, that made Amazon responsible for all of the VAT of all of the sellers on their platform. So suddenly, everybody trading in Europe suddenly was like, oh, we need to be registering for VAT. We need to make sure this is done compliantly. So that's where the Amazon PanEU program really took off and enabled us to help so many e-commerce sellers to grow and expand their businesses overnight. And it was a wonderful promotion, because if it were a case that somebody was having to then start registering in 7 countries, that's going to cost a few £1,000s to take care of that. But because that bill's being paid by Amazon, you were able to invest that money into stock or into bringing this additional stock into Europe, so that you can actually expand more successfully. And a lot of very smart sellers did capitalize on that and were able to actually grow their business beyond border, which was absolutely phenomenal. It really was. And this saw us by 2019 opening our new global headquarters in Southampton, and that's when I sort of officially joined the company. And that's also when at the end of 2019, that was when the global pandemic started hitting. Unfortunately, again, we were able to continue scaling and helping and assisting Amazon sellers, and we were taking part in a lot of number of programs to do with webinars, podcasts, and we were really actively marketing how we can provide support and advisory services, and how we were providing that wealth of information to sellers. And due to that, our business continued to grow, and we were continuing to be able to support sellers as they faced a new challenge, which was the global pandemic. And that, unfortunately, really did sort of it really did sort of make a lot of people suddenly sit back and take stock and go, oh, hang on, what's going on? I mean, you had a couple of other problems with regards to logistics and the increase in prices for containers. And there were a lot of things that sellers were grappling with at one time to try and maintain the status quo whilst not being able to leave their houses and things. So it was very good that we were able to. So it's good that we were able to continue growing, and we officially opened our New York office in the height of the pandemic in 2020. So that was very exciting to be able to do in the middle of this pandemic, to be able to continue to grow. And I think it's
as well risky, I would say, yeah.
Well, I don't think risky, no, because I mean we were still dealing with a lot of sellers in the US, and
okay, so
from everything we were hearing is the European market is continuing to grow, and if you're doing well selling in the United States, you're going to do well selling in Europe as well.
Oh, you need to go to Europe then, that's kind of a must, because you cannot just
exactly,
if you're good in the US, you be good in Europe. That's just maths,
Absolutely. And so the natural logical next step for all US based sellers is to consider expanding to the UK and into then also Europe. Which is quite interesting, and it's wonderful because suddenly then in the height of all this pandemic, Brexit then happens, suddenly everyone starts saying, oh, is UK still a good place? Should I continue trading in Europe? How does this happen? And what we found was, despite there was a lot of temporary disruption in Q1 of 2021, a lot of e-commerce sellers had to make critical decisions regarding stock volumes, the stock movements, the shipping routines, the sales expectations, and then they also had to start grappling with a whole new day-to-day vocabulary of things like postponed VAT accounting, import clearances, indirect representation, all of these additional things that necessarily they didn't have to consider before when they were trading between the UK and the EU suddenly became a massive issue. But despite in the midst of that pandemonium, with all of that going on, sellers, along with shippers and VAT advisors, they managed to transition, and they are showing signs that everything is improving again, and the situation is getting a lot better than it was.
And this is exactly what I'm always saying, because now with such a challenge, the kind of old school behavior of companies has been changed, because now everyone moved online. I mean, everyone who was fast enough, and the ones who have seen it before, they moved already before online, so there is even big corporations. Sometimes I'm thinking, how did they manage to do that, to move directly online, because they have seen it straight away from the beginning, what the pandemic is going to be like, what it's going to look like. So they already changed this, but generally the behavior has changed, and I think it improved a lot, because now, for example, government, we can do everything online. Before it was like partly, we could, some things online, but the rest you need to go and do some stuff. But really right now, I can tell you, I don't leave my house. Okay, I don't have to go anywhere. Anywhere, I click buttons and that's it. It's I know it sounds crazy, but I really it's amazing for me, because going out and driving around, it costs time, so you can spend this time doing some productive things, reading or learning new things, or taking care of your company, so right now we are 1,000 times better, because this whole thing with trying to, I don't know, go to the government and file in the taxes. Avask can do this for you with one click. You don't have to think anymore about all these things. For us, we don't have to do meetups anymore with clients. We can directly communicate via Zoom. They agree with that. That's fine. If not, that's okay. There are other companies there. Everything is open and everything is here with a click. That means you have one chance. And if you don't get that chance, that's okay. Then move on to the next one. But still, we save time. We don't have to commute and go there and present ourselves and talk. Now everything is really easy, and we have 24 hours where we sleep a little bit. I mean, like, okay, we need to sleep 16 hours, but we still can do get so much done, you know? So if in this time, people don't complain that they don't have enough time, then something is truly wrong with their schedule. I'm sorry to say that, you know, so.
Exactly. I think, you know, some of the things you just said are very, ring very true. I mean, it was a case of during the pandemic that you actually had to pivot or your business would potentially fail. And those that pivoted and pivoted well, they became successful, they transitioned, they were able to adapt. And unfortunately, some of the larger retailers who didn't have huge amounts of cash reserves, for example, you've got the high street firms such as Debenhams, their businesses couldn't survive because they couldn't adapt their ways of working quick enough and pivot to the online environment in such a way that they could just start selling online on online marketplaces. And I think getting the right strategy in position to be able to move your business forward and diversifying your income streams is such an important thing for every seller to make sure that they're capable of achieving. Because if you don't diversify income streams and suddenly something happens, like, for example, God forbid you're operating in somewhere like Germany and suddenly Amazon suspends your listings in Germany for one reason or another, if you've got nothing else to fall back on, you're at ground zero until that account becomes released, and that takes time. So by diversifying, exactly. So that's why I say that diversification is really key to ensuring you've got a you know, a continuous business strategy that is weatherproof. Really, I think it's quite important, and being able to rely on a company like Avask is quite is quite an interesting thing, because we can not only help with the VAT registration, the filing, and the compliance, but we can also help with other things. For example, the OSS and the IOSS schemes that came in the middle of in the middle of all of this pandemic. OSS, IOSS, you know, suddenly it's changing the way that Europe is filing their taxes, and you know, so Avask can assist you with that. EPR has just started coming in from the 1st of January 2022, and EPR in France and Germany, it's just suddenly another thing. And well, they're calling it eco contributions, but it's not
another money, it's another money machine, you know. It's
another tax. It's another tax. So we can help with those sort of things. So really, consistently, for your compliance requirements within Europe, within the United States, within the UK, you need to rely on somebody who's going to keep your business and proactively look out for your business on that sort of stage, so you don't get into problems where your marketplace is going to start suspending listings. You're going to find that you are proactively getting information from your e-commerce accountant, who is telling you, you've done really well here, try this, try that. We will do the management accounts, we'll do the audit reporting, you know, we'll do all of those sorts of things, which will then help you to identify the next trend and the next step for your business, so that you can grow, continue to expand, and explore new marketplaces. And I think that's one of the key differences between a traditional brick and mortar accountant and an e-commerce accountant.
Okay, this was actually as well one of my questions. What would be the difference between Avask and another accounting firm, obviously, which has as well knowledge of e-commerce? We don't talk about them who have no knowledge of e-commerce or who don't go in this, but I think nowadays everyone is trying to get in it. But Avask, you are so, the company Avask is so much ahead that, I mean, the answer is clear. But anyway, what would distinguish you from others?
Okay, so we put the client at the heart of everything that we do in the way that we create our simple and customized solutions. We use software to enable you to predict trends and to enable you to grow and expand your business. But we do that not at the expense of the human touch. We will ensure that you will always have a dedicated advisor available. So if you have got one of those important burning questions, you can pick the phone up and talk to an expert. And at the moment, we currently support clients in 50 countries of the world. Wow. And we speak over 23 of the world's most popular languages, including French, German, Spanish, Italian, English, and Chinese, the Mandarin and Cantonese.
Okay.
We can we can communicate in a simple and effective manner in a language that you can understand. And that is necessarily key to dealing with international trade and taxation, very complicated subjects. And if you're trying to communicate very complicated themes and information, if you're trying to do that in a language that's not familiar to the person, you're going to have errors in translation. You're going to have a lot of other, problems that are just going to crop up. So you need to be able to communicate in a language that the people are understanding. And we speak the languages of e-commerce plus 23 other languages that are within the world. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good point what you made there. And this is exactly where we're going, because our slogan actually is exactly the same. You have to speak the language of your customer, and you can put this as a slogan on top and can break it down in everything you just said. You just have to speak their language, the marketing, the culture, everything, so it's super important. And companies like Avask, or what I try to explain, agencies in general, to potential customers, because not everyone is on the same line right now. Some are still, there is budgets and there is budgets. Okay. So from what I see, or my experience, is that we really need to make everyone understand that if they hire agencies, let's include Avast in the agency, although your accountant, it's a bit different, but agencies in general, you can focus 100% on your business. And this is what you need to do, because we created that business and you want to bring this business to the top. And if you begin to go to Zoho Books, I just give an example, and begin to type in all your stuff from your sales, and your sales go up and you have 1 million sales per year, and you're still on your own books, and count the time you're actually spending there, count the time you are uploading your own listing, bulk listings, and then you get an error message and you just want to slam the computer in your face. It's, and it takes so much time. And at the end, you better off, because your time is limited and your time is very precious, especially the heads of the companies. That's why we hire people who can do the job better than us. Very simple. And
absolutely, absolutely, I agree 100%. And one of my personal viewpoints is you have to deploy the right expert at the right time. If you are an e-commerce seller, focus on e-commerce selling. Let an accountant deal with the accounts. Let a localization expert help you to translate your listings and get yourselves to the top of whichever marketplace you're invested in.
Very good.
Translations, localizations, they're so important. If you get that wrong, you're not going to sell anything. It's the same with, if you get your taxes wrong, you're not going to sell anything, because you're not going to be able to operate in the marketplaces. So you need to deploy the right expert at the right time and actually rely on them to give you the best advice, and follow the advice, because that's also very, very key. I mean, we've got we're currently actively helping over 10,000 sellers, e-commerce sellers in the ecosystem, and we will always provide personal tailored advice for the company. You're not going to get a stock answer from us, and you're not also going to get pushed into something that is not suitable for your business. We will make sure that you are making the right choice for your business, and we will work collaboratively with you to ensure that your business is positioned in the best possible manner, so that in 3 to 5 years time you can make an exit, and you can go to an aggregator, and you can sell your business for the impressive amount of money that you can potentially get. And we can do that by making sure your accounts are always up to date. You're getting the best possible advice and support from the experts when you need them.
This is as well something which I'm mentioning a lot. It's the aggregators, for example. Although your business thrives, your business is good, but if you look very far in the future, I talk about e-commerce sellers. If they look in the future, is their business still that good? I mean, if they try not to invest in accountancy, in listing optimization, in outside traffic, in PPC and they do everything themselves, or without, you know, a proper expansion because they cannot overview everything, will this still work in 3 to 5 years? The aggregators, they don't move too fast because they're already very heavy. They're already very big. So it's got kind of hard to say that they are very flexible, but they are very strong. So they look in the future.
Absolutely.
They look 3, 5 years, 10 years in the future. And what is going to happen with them? They will grow so strong. They just wipe everyone else out if they don't take care of their company and if they don't properly invest. So this is my prediction. This is my as well my warning to all sellers who are still thinking they can do everything on their own. Watch ahead. There are very, very big and strong companies out there. This is a shark environment right now. So please take care and really go after Mike's and my advice and search for agencies or accountancy firms who can help you with your stuff.
Absolutely. And above all, do your research as well.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
invest in a good e-commerce accountant that can assist you, and invest in a good localization expert. Do your research into which products suit which marketplaces. And just remember, in 2020, there was 1.4 billion people were a part of the global middle class. And 85% of those people are located in the Asia Pacific region. So, you know, there is still so much opportunity out there. Global buying power is growing. When you look at the trends and the forecasts, especially if you're in the marketing sector, you'll look at things like how much the e-commerce marketplaces in each country are growing year on year. They're all growing. They're still growing. I mean,
so big,
they're
yeah.
8.9, 9, 10, 12, 15% increases year on year. The number of new e-commerce sellers in each marketplace is growing phenomenally fast. And you're going to find you cannot exist unless you're in the online environment. So, yeah. It's very, I think there's still a lot of really important achievements to be had in the e-commerce world, and I think the e-commerce ecosystem, there's still a lot of untapped resource out there that people can take advantage of, I think.
Oh, I call it always, we're still the baby, you know, the little baby now, and the baby is now growing a little bit, you know, but we have many years to see what will happen. And maybe someday it's not only Amazon, it's another big company who's taking over. We don't know now, but I'm sure this is what's going to happen. One question for you.
Yeah.
For Avask, if we talk about the future, what is your future view? I mean, on the company itself, where do you want to go? What is your plan for the next years to come?
Okay, so Avask at the moment is continuing to grow and expand into new marketplaces as well. The services that we are offering, we are specifically growing into new markets that are showing growth, expansion. For example, we are able to assist with VAT registration, filing and compliance in more countries every year. We're adding more products and services to our portfolio. We have just implemented a new EPR department, which are there to basically help any seller who might fall. Exactly. And this has come out of just the first month in 2021 when EPR became a massive issue. Oh, by the way, EPR is coming in Germany. It's starting in July. So make sure if you are trading in Germany and you do need assistance with EPR, please do contact Avask. Time is running out. That's just a warning I'm putting out there. But our growth and our expansion, we are constantly analyzing the market, and we are looking at where we can develop new services and new products. EPR was the latest one. We're currently working on a new program with Amazon, which is the ATS program, where we're assisting with indirect representation across border to help re-enable the EFN and the PAN-EU programs from the UK into Europe. So we're looking at developing new services that will facilitate that, to try and ensure that the border between the UK and the EU is once again as open as it can be, obviously due to the legislative changes. we are preparing new business advisory services, and we're also in the process of launching new software services. We've got the Avask Analytics program currently. Avask Analytics, very important. It'll help you to identify new trends and forecasts, and it will help you to work with Avask in a more efficient manner. Our new client portal is currently in development and is currently beta testing. So we've got a lot of really exciting new stuff coming along to enable our sellers to work even more efficiently and effectively with us, so that we can help them to grow and expand into new marketplaces. But yes, I think 2022 is the year of advisory and support and growth and expansion. And it's also the year that you're going to see a lot of new exciting software services being launched from Avask as well.
Oh, that sounds really super exciting, and I'm sure it's going to be a very nice future. Seeing as well the development of the whole e-commerce sector. Not only talking about Amazon, talking about all the marketplaces, as you have mentioned in Asia. There is Lazada, there's Shopee. There will come others. It's just a booming experience for customers all around the world, because they don't have to go out anymore, have to go in full shopping malls. Although sometimes it's funny, you know. Sometimes it's funny, you know, but I really prefer as well to click the button and have my stuff coming home, because as I said, we have a lot more time to spend with our family and with things we really want to do, instead of spending it driving around in the cities. One last question. Okay, yes. Sorry. Just before we with the question, where can potential customers or anyone who's interested in knowing more about Avask contact you? Email address or telephone. We will put it down under the video while we speak.
You can go to avaskgroup.com, which is our main website, and it's down here somewhere probably. You can also email us at inquiries@avaskgroup.com, or you can telephone us on our UK landline 023 8060 0120.
Great.
If you are looking for any advice or support at all, first of all, click through to the website and click on the contact button. You know, we will be there. We'll provide support. I think Omar's going to also publish a hyperlink down here as well. This will then tell us that that you've come from Margin Business, and it will enable us to also offer you an exclusive 50% discount on the registration of any of our services, and that's exclusive to Margin Business.
Which is definitely one of the most competitive offers in the market. I can confirm that, you know. So I have one last question for you, Mike. What would be your advice for every entrepreneur in 2022 or moving ahead the next years?
Okay, so if you're looking to grow and expand your business, the timing has never been more perfect, okay? Do your research into which marketplaces suit you and the country which you're expanding into. So if you're expanding, for example, into Poland, don't necessarily rely on the obvious choices of eBay, Amazon, and such marketplaces. Do a little bit of research, because those platforms may not have the best market share. Consider starting up on something like Allegro in Poland, because it's got much better market share ability. France, you may consider wanting to try Cdiscount. Germany, you've got Otto, Zalando, and Kaufland, which was the formerly Real.de. Exactly. So also look at what your competitors are doing. Research their strategies and how do their prices look, because at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you are competitive and you are maintaining a competitive advantage. Another thing you can potentially do, construct a customer advisory program. Show your customers that you have share the same values as they do, and find out what excites and motivates your customers to develop new products and services that you can provide them with, and always look for that better deal that you can provide them and provide value-added services.
Great. I think this is really good. I put this together as research, and as well, make sure that you have a product which is helping people. An entrepreneur helps people or make their lives better. It's not about the money. The money comes afterwards anyway. You know, if you find out how can you help your customer avatar or your customers in general. Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely. That's fine. And I mean, also take away this other piece of information. The EU market is currently worth over 717 billion euros. Okay. That's a marketplace of around 114 billion in Germany, 83 billion for France. Can you really not afford to take a slice of that pie away? Because that is realistically what you need to do. You need to consider growing and expanding. And if you're experiencing an issue with regards to funding or something, do contact somebody to help, because there are
There are enough
schemes in
people.
place.
Definitely.
Exactly.
We have partners who can help you with that. Just contact us, to contact Avask. We can, we can show you the ways, we can show you the partners who can fund your business. Not a problem at all.
Exactly. Plan for a successful expansion over the next 3 to 5 years, and do start planning your next business venture, because you're going to become a serial entrepreneur if you get hooked on this.
Definitely, most definitely. I can agree with that. Thank you so much, Mike. That was a great conversation. A lot of great information, a lot of value for the audience. Thank you so much, and hope we speak soon.
Thank you so much, Omar. It's been an absolute pleasure joining you today and just talking to your audience. It's been so lovely. I've really enjoyed my time with you today, so thank you.
Thank you.